Geographic Lament, Applying Ancient Practices to Contemporary Social and Environmental Tragedies by Sidney Perry, Michael Ferber at the King's University. Introduction. In the discipline of geography, students are exposed to environmental and social tragedies that can elicit feelings of devastating loss, unspeakable suffering, unrelieved grief, and protest. Addressing rather than ignoring these feelings can establish productive means of resilience and capacity building. Lament has been used by many cultures and traditions to address grief and loss. By integrating lament into pedagogy, students and professors can grow in their capacity to appropriately grieve while making room for productive conversation on a variety of social and environmental issues. Confronting tragedy. Contemporary lamentations. Biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, ocean acidification, global climate change, colonialism, slavery, wealth inequalities, racism, and genocide. Geographic topics ranging from biodiversity loss to genocide can be deeply disturbing to students engaging in this material for the first time, let alone to the teachers and professors who have been grieving these tragedies for decades, as many of these continue to unfold in front of us actively. These topics can lead to stress and overwhelm. Gen Z students may feel particular anxiety regarding climate change, as young people often see themselves as the generation responsible for repairing the damage caused by previous generations. We view ourselves as caregivers or trustees who are somehow responsible for the lives or well-beings of those entrusted to us. And pictured on the right, images like this of an orangutan touching a backhoe while it experiences habitat loss for palm production can elicit feelings of grief. History of lament. Ancient practices and liturgies from various religious and cultural contexts can help scholars grieve social and environmental tragedy. Lament allows practitioners to consciously and mindfully interact with feelings of grief, loss, injustice, and guilt. It provides an opportunity to address emotions through mediums such as poetry or song that connect deep feelings through creative expression. Lament recognizes the struggle of life and cries out for justice against existing injustices. Lament can take a variety of forms in different cultures and religious contexts. Many Indigenous peoples practice lament through sweat lodges, which connect individuals to ancestors and restore balance and provide an opportunity for reflection. Native American spirituality involved in the sweat lodge ceremony revolves around the essential concept of seeking harmony and balance in one's relationship with the natural environment. Christian ideology focuses on lament as a means of surrendering grief to be transformed by God. Lament and ideology. Walter Brueggemann argues that the Western world has lost the language of and capacity to lament, due in part to the comforts and escapism provided by the Western society and ideology that sustain lives of privilege. Without actively practicing lament, it is easy to withdraw from social and environmental issues that make students uncomfortable, because suffering is outside the scope of many individuals' existences. Practicing lament allows people who have not experienced climate-related injustice or racism to address their privilege and make room for empathy. Lament has fallen out of modern practice because it forces individuals to address unpleasant feelings. Pictured on the left, exposure to realities such as ocean acidification leading to the death of coral species can create feelings of fear and anxiety for the future. Pedagogy of lament. A pedagogy of lament can provide language for students to express feelings of grief and loss experienced while studying the tragedies of our era. The practice of lament can also offer a medium to consider ideologies that lead to suffering empathically. Many environmental movements use the idea of lament to raise awareness for specific causes, as it presents the concept of interconnectedness rather than separation. Grief is a central motivating factor in conversation and commitment to activism. It is both an expression of deeply felt kinship bonds with other species and a significant factor in creating those bonds. Professors can practice lament with their students by using journals to call out their emotions on topics that fuel them. Professors can encourage students to practice lament through meditation, song, or prayer. And pictured on the left, exposure to systemic and organismal death and dying, such as this ivory hunt during the colonial Belgian rule in the Congo, can be addressed using ancient practices of lament. Conclusion. Lament is an essential tool for confronting topics that lead to feelings of guilt and grief. Through ancient practices from various religions and cultures, students can learn to express difficult emotions that could otherwise lead to catharsis and overwhelm. In particular, many students from more privileged backgrounds have never practiced lament, as it would involve addressing their position of privilege, which tends to make people uncomfortable. Lament offers benefits to the psyche, as it provides an expression of emotion and allows students and scholars to consider their position on social and environmental issues.